Hello boys and girls, and welcome to the Amazing History Channel, where learning about the past is made interesting. Today we are going to begin to look at life in the Tudor times. More than 400 years ago, England was ruled by a family of kings and queens called the Tudors. During this time England became a very powerful place indeed. The very first Tudor king was Henry VII, who became king when he won the Battle of Bosworth Field in 1485. Take a look at this picture of him. When King Henry VII died, his son Henry VIII became king. King Henry VIII's reign is very famous, and often people say he was a very bad man. He famously had 6 wives. Yes, that's right. 6 wives. I know what you are thinking. He must have been a real beauty to attract all those ladies. Well, let's take a look. Wow, what a beauty! King Henry VIII's first love was Catherine of Aragon. She was the daughter of the King and Queen of Spain. She had 6 children with Henry, but only one lived. She was called Mary. King Henry VIII later divorced Catherine after falling in love with a lady called Anne Boleyn. Anne had a daughter called Elizabeth with Henry, but Henry desperately wanted a son to be his heir to the throne. Henry soon got fed up with Anne. Apparently she was very grumpy, so he accused her of meeting other men, and in 1536 she was beheaded for this. King Henry VIII's most beloved wife was Jane Seymour. She was gentle and loving. She gave birth to Henry's much-desired son in 1537. He was called Edward, but sadly 12 days later Jane passed away. Henry was distraught. He loved Jane very much. Two years later Henry married again, this time to a lady called Anne of Cleves. He agreed to marry her despite never meeting her. When he did meet her, he thought she was ugly and rude. The marriage only lasted 6 months. Only 20 days later, Henry married his 5th wife, Catherine Howard. She was cousins to Anne Boleyn, however, like Anne, she got the chop. She was secretly engaged when she met Henry, and for this she was beheaded in 1542. The following year Henry married for the last time to a lady called Catherine Parr. But despite marrying Henry, Catherine loved a man called Thomas Seymour. But she was too scared to confess to Henry. Catherine was as much a nurse as a wife. Henry was very ill and fat. He later died in 1547, soon after Catherine married Thomas, but she sadly died in childbirth in 1548. Following King Henry VIII's death, his son, Edward VI, became king. He was later followed by his sisters, Mary and Elizabeth. Elizabeth I was the last of the Tudors to reign England. She died in 1603. Wow, what a lot of facts. But luckily for us there is a catchy song to help us easily remember all this. Let's take a look.
Terrible Tudors.
Divorced, beheaded and died. divorced, beheaded, survived. I'm Henry VIII, I had 6 sorry wives. Some might say I ruined their lives. Catherine of Aragon was one. She failed to give me a son. I had to ask her for a divorce. That broke up her heart, of course. Young Anne Boleyn, she was 2. Had a daughter, the best she could do. I said she flirted with some other man, and off with the chop went dear Anne. Lovely Jane Seymour was 3, the love of a lifetime for me. She gave me a son, little Prince Ed. Then poor old Jane went and dropped dead. Divorced, beheaded and died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. I'm Henry VIII, I had 6 sorry wives. Some might say I ruined their lives. Anne of Cleves came at 4. I fell for the portrait I saw. Then laid eyes on her face and cried, she's a horse! I must have another divorce. Catherine Howard was 5. A child of 19, so alive. She flirted with others, no way to behave. The axe sent young Cath to her grave. Catherine Parr, she was lost. By then all my best days were past. I lay on my deathbed, aged just 55. Lucky Catherine, the last, stayed alive. I mean, how unfair. Divorced, beheaded and died. Divorced, beheaded, survived. I'm Henry VIII, I had 6 sorry wives. You could say I ruined their lives.
Unfortunately, that is all for today, kids. But before I leave you, I have a special message.
I hope you have enjoyed learning about us Tudors. Don't forget to stay tuned next week for the second part of Life in the Tudor Times.
Yes, that's right, Henry. Next week I will be back with lots more interesting facts on the Tudors. Take care, kids. Bye for now.